Hey everyone. As many already know, I already posted this article on Friday directly after it came out, but I felt after doing so I needed to address it a bit further. What we saw happen a few days ago on November 20th was Obama using executive orders to once again bypass Congress, which also means he bypassed the will of the people, of which Congress represents. Worse yet, he violated the U.S. Constitution, but then this wasn't his first criminal offense in that respect either. But directly after he sidestepped the will of the Congress, an article came out that was titled, as you see here, Caesar Obama. So let me go there real quick. Okay. Now let me scroll down a little bit. There it is. It says, oops, sorry about that. Our rogue president has crossed an historic line, and so has the Republic. Future presidents will cite the Obama precedent when they declare they will henceforth not enforce this or that law because of a prior commitment to some noisy constituency. We have just taken a monumental step away from republicanism toward Caesarism, for this is rule by diktat, the rejection of which sparked the American Revolution. Now, back in June of 2008, I did a newsletter. Let's go there real quick. Just go to the news section of the remnantofgod.org, go to the Truth Provided newsletter, and go to the new format. I don't know why I'm still calling it new, but anyway, scroll down to June 2008. There it is. Caesar's Herods. Okay, now in this newsletter, I show how Rome has prophesied to rule the world once again as Caesar, wherein the Pope of the day will need a new world order wherein 10 governors, or Herods, as they were often called in antiquity, that can rule the nations for Rome. Now, as we saw in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, the governors for Caesar didn't need to be Romans, but they had to bow to Caesar politically in order to maintain their title and their rule. This is what we see forming right before our eyes today. I recently made 2 short videos at the beginning of 2014 showing how the prophesied 10 toes of Daniel, which are actually the 10 regions the beast in Rome is prophesied to create as the New World Order, have already been selected and are now being promoted on camera by heads of state. And as far as I can see, the 10 Herods are already vying for the jobs to rule for Rome as governors of each region. What Obama did last week was the icing on the cake, wherein numerous other constitutional crimes have been committed that boldly suggest America is about to have its first official Herod. The only reason the previous presidents, and now Obama, keep committing these constitutional crimes, of which, by the way, keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger in political nature, is because Rome is watching how the American people aren't doing anything about it. As we have seen so many times throughout history, Rome is merely testing the water, or assessing the reaction of the American people each time they perform these political crimes. Yes, the people do protest, and yes, some of their political pundits speak out a bit, but that's all they do. And that's all they can really do, because the sad reality is the not-so-free speech laws and the unconstitutional free speech zones have caused their protests to waft away as a vapor. So, the plan of the powers that be is to simply do it again and again and again, but each time do it a little bit worse, and then watch the people and how they react. What Rome is doing via their puppet, Obama, is they are effectively shredding the Constitution so as to create a viable format in D.C. that not only calls for a constitutional rewrite, but one that emulates the Vatican's socialist agenda, which, by the way, you can get a little bit more information about if you go to remnantofgod.org, go down to the Antichrist in the RCC Exposed section, then scroll down to the Vatican socialist agenda. All the popes, the last 3 anyway, have been pushing on this, but Pope Francis has gone a little bit overboard on it. He's really pushing it in a big way, but that is to be expected. So what they're doing is they're shooting for an emulation of the Vatican's socialist agenda so that they can have a Herod in D.C. that will obey the Pope on every single command. The fact they are drafting a new constitution in the same building that they wrote the first one in, and they're doing this as we speak, confirms Herod is about to stand in America for Rome. The article I started the video with is, in my opinion, purposely mistitled so as to pull the onus off of Rome. It's calling Obama Caesar, when in reality it's the Pope that has already declared himself Caesar. In fact, the popes have actually stated as such in writing. If you go to RCC Exposed and go to the Words of the Beast, scroll down to where you see the word Caesar right about here, click it. Check out this first quote here. The source is kind of large, but the quote is short. It says, superior papal authority and dominion is derived from the law of the Caesars. But look at this one from Pope Pius IX in his Discorsi. On page 253, he actually said, speaking of himself, he says, the Caesar who now addresses you, and to whom alone are obedience and fidelity due. The Vatican has already forced the nations of the world to gather under 10 separate regions that prophecy says will be ruled by the Pope. Each area is going to need a governor for Rome that bows to the Pope's written decree without question. That is why we see Obama playing the part of emperor as we speak. As he does this, Rome watches how the people allow him to rule over them. Now, whether he actually generates another false flag attack before leaving office that causes martial law nationwide, which will in turn suspend all elections and truly allow him to stand as emperor, or whether his previous and present political crimes allow the next president to legally and politically build towards the prophesied New World Order that sees Rome ruling America via a Herod in D.C., makes no difference now. The fix is in. Worse yet, they know it. It can no more be stopped than the second coming itself, for it is the very same Bible that speaks of both these events occurring in the very order we see them taking place right now. That being said, are you ready? Are you sure? Thank you for watching. God bless.